What's good, Commanders fans? Just wanted to quickly react to the Dan Quinn press conference. A lot of good things. It went for 57 minutes, so he did talk for a long time. Seems like a guy that is very charismatic, very excited. You can see why he's a likable guy. I thought he won the press conference just like everybody has, and I like last night I was gonna do like a long video about the press conference, but I'm gonna keep it pretty short here, guys, and then just talk about Eric Bieniemy at the end, where he's not gonna keep him and bring him back. He didn't say that during the presser. Somebody had to ask him that question, and then he finally came out and just said it. If nobody asked him, he wouldn't have brought it up, which respectfully, it's not like you're just going to bring him and be like, hey, I'm just not going to bring Eric Bieniemy up in the speech before he got questions. But, I thought Adam Peters spoke well, of course, and Josh Harris spoke well, of course, of each other, and they joked with each other. The UCLA word, that was a joke about Adam Peters. I think Dan Quinn said that. But it was good to hear about Dan Quinn's background, of course, that he went to Salisbury, William & Mary coached there, Mike Tomlin, VMI, which is in Virginia. So he's somewhat of a local guy, which at the end of the day is a good thing to know, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day. And, got off the plane, said he saw Adam Peters and his family. He liked that a lot. But what I will say about these pressers is that I don't want to get too caught up in them, because Eric Bieniemy won the presser last year with, I'm going to drag my behind. We're going to drag our behinds across that 50-yard line. Oh, and then Dan Quinn was like, oh, I'm going to curse one time. And he cursed a bunch of times more, which is pretty funny. He said, I like to do hard shiggity with good people, which makes a lot of sense. But he doesn't want to do any hard stuff with Eric Bieniemy, apparently. But, what I will say, press conferences, we saw Nick Sirianni with the Eagles. He stuttered, and they made the Super Bowl, even though, he's not doing too well right now. And then Dan Campbell with the Lions talked about biting kneecaps. A lot of people thought he lost the presser, but the Lions are doing really well. I thought Eric Bieniemy, won the presser, and we saw how he ended up. No players are endorsing him. Jahan Dotson tweeting out that he's so happy about Cliff Kingsbury being here, and Brian Robinson tweeting out that he's so happy about Cliff Kingsbury as well. That could be a shot at EB. Who knows? Players not endorsing him. But I don't want to make this too much about EB. I'm going to read some quotes that I thought stood out from Dan Quinn's presser. I do like his scouting philosophy, how he said, he would draft players and adjust to their styles, basically. Clearly, what he said about the talent of the team, the defensive tackles and the wide receivers, that's about it. He didn't say anything about the corners. He didn't say anything about the secondary. He didn't say anything about anything positive about the offensive line. All he said was the wide receivers and the defensive tackles. He said that the wide receivers have a lot of skill, and they gave us a tough time when he coached the Cowboys against us last year. All right, so let's see here. Joe Witt is going to be calling all the defensive plays. I know a lot of people were kind of, speculating on that. Like, would he call the plays? Is Dan Quinn going to call the plays? So he just came out there and said that Joe Witt Jr. will be calling all the plays. He did endorse Cliff Kingsbury a lot, or not a lot, but he said some good things about Cliff, of course. That when he played against Cliff, it was a tough game, spread offense, all that. Really stressed the defense. Adam Peters on Dan Quinn said, every time we spoke with Dan, it became more and more clear he was the guy. It was like we spoke the same language. So that was good to hear there. The communication there between those guys. Maybe Dan Quinn wasn't the first option, but, he talked about leadership. Adam Peters talked about that too, the leadership, that he wanted a leader, and we know Dan Quinn clearly is a leader of men. Now, like I said, he's more charismatic than Ron Rivera. He talks more than Ron Rivera. I just don't think he's going to give up a lot and spill the beans like Ron Rivera did, and putting his foot in his mouth and say things like, oh, the players came to me because they're concerned about an offensive coordinator or assistant coach and stuff like that. So he's not going to do stuff like that. Just all the gaffes that, Ron Rivera had, saying, I'm the guy that chose Carson Wentz and stuff like that. So, he also said, I'm going to give myself some grace, and he used one swear word. I already talked about that. He said he's ready to run. He says a little bit older, more chrome, hopefully a little wiser, but he's incredibly grateful as well. He also said the good news, I've had a chance to delegate and prove that. Just talking about his last time as a head coach where it failed. I think J.P. Finley asked him about his defenses and why his defenses were not good with the Falcons, and then he said he had some time to improve on that as well. He talked about, he compared Cliff Kingsbury to Kyle Shanahan, said that he's hard to go against. And he said, if I get this shot, that's someone I would want to talk to, talking about Cliff Kingsbury right there. He said, Dan Quinn also said he kept checking his phone, waiting for the call from Washington. So I so wanted this moment. It probably doesn't fully hit you when you get on the ground here. Let's see here. Where's the quote where it said that he, about his scouting? He also said, he said it was an outstanding privilege to get another shot with the Commanders as well. I'm trying to find that one. Oh, yeah, here it is right here. He says he's concerned with what guys can do, not what they can't do. They want to find roles for guys and let them excel. Not doing this leads you to do silly things like passing on players. So also, he did say he doesn't want guys to think too much. He wants to make everything simple. He wants guys to play fast, explosive, and fast. That's his motto that he wants guys to do. Not think too much, make things easier for the quarterback, make things easier for the defense, wants to move guys around. He brought up Micah Parsons as well. He did say instead of rebuilding, recalibrate. To recalibrate. I thought that was a good word. It still kind of means similar things, but it's just like kind of like throwing a little spice on there for real. He says when he finished his first year in Atlanta, Matt Ryan told him that it felt like he got traded, but he went back to the same building. And Dan Quinn liked that a lot. So he wants it to feel like it's a different team, a different building. Just recalibrate and get these guys on a just in a different mindset and a different culture. He didn't bring that up. He didn't really talk about. He did talk about culture. And somebody was like, okay, what's your goal for your first season here? Is to really build an identity, and that's one thing that we have not had the last couple of years. Really, offensively, we haven't had an identity at all. Sometimes it was run the football. And with Ron, that one year was run the football, drain out the clock, time of possession. And then this year with Bieniemy was kind of like just throwing the ball. So we didn't have an identity at all last year. And I would love to gain that as well. Adam Peters, Dan Quinn said Adam Peters and Dan Quinn move forward. They're looking forward to their ability to operate and do what they do. It starts today. So yeah, I mean, that's all I got. Oh, the be where your feet are comment. Yes, that did traumatize me a little bit. I know Ron Rivera said it. Eric Bieniemy said it. Everybody says it. Be at where your feet at. Everybody says that comment. So it did kind of traumatize me a little bit. But I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. I don't have any concerns about that at all. Let me see if there's any more quotes that stood out to me. Dan Quinn said, you have to evolve. It does have to change. During that time of reflection, the other thing I did during that time was compare my defenses. Coming into Dallas, the system we put together will be similar to the system we'll have here. So he talked about, that's basically his answer about why things didn't work out with Atlanta. He evolved, changed his defense up. So when it got better when he was with the Cowboys as well. He says, if a player has to overthink it, it's not the right call. I did like that because one thing that players complain about with Jack was that they were thinking too much, or people complain about that they're thinking too much out there. You don't want your guys to think too much. Like with Micah Parsons, he would line them up all over the place and make it kind of make it simple for him, but he would use him as a chess piece. So you do have to be creative and innovative, of course, but using guys as a chess piece and not making them think too much. Explosive and physical were the two words that he used as well. The front office, Adam Peters says he does not foresee making changes with the front office scouting department at this time, other than possibly adding help. Teams typically don't make changes until after the draft. So he did say they're not going to make changes. So Martin Mayhew would be on the staff as of right now. Marty Herney, a lot of like I was saying, they don't make changes until after the draft. Like Kyle Smith, I'm trying to remember when he got let go by Ron Rivera. I know he was there for the draft, and then I want to say like he kind of let him go like right after the draft or something like that. So I know when they're changing the front office. But Martin Mayhew, I think he did say that he's going to keep Martin Mayhew. Just the history with Adam Peters and Martin Mayhew. He likes Martin Mayhew. They have a relationship, so he's going to stay on the staff. Jason Wright, he's not a part of the front office, but he was at the press conference. He was at the facility when Dan Quinn came. So Jason Wright will be here to stay. He's not going anywhere. Adam Peters also said he got to meet the Commanders' full college scouting staff during the Senior Bowl and doesn't expect to make any changes during this draft process as well. Let's see here. Dan Quinn talked about leaning on Adam Peters. He said, like I said, with the DTs and the wide receivers, I was impressed by the inside of the defense with the defensive tackles. That's the spot that jumped out to me. Then the skill at the wide receiver position as well. So those are the things that stood out to Dan Quinn about the roster. Nothing else really at all. And then he said that he had a good talk with Eric Bieniemy, but, he said he wished him the best, basically, and that he will not be bringing EB back. And, he got to play against EB twice. He said he played against Cliff Kingsbury, and he liked what he saw from Cliff Kingsbury. But I guess it just was not enough from Eric Bieniemy that Eric Bieniemy threw a lot of trick plays out there in that last game, and he decided to not go with EB. So EB did have one year left on his contract, so all the people asking about EB, we finally got an answer there. We'll see. Hopefully he gets a job back with the Chiefs, And hopefully he can, like I said, hopefully he can get. Oh, he did say fired up a lot. He did say brotherhood a lot. He did say get running, get rocking, hit the ground running, kick ass or kick butt. He did say that a lot. He did say he loved saying that a lot. That was one of the buzzwords that he liked saying that too. So fast and physical, explosive and physical. So he did say that a lot. So those are some of the words that he said a lot. So like I said, I thought it was a good presser. I thought he did a heck of a job. Really well-spoken guy, of course. You can see why players like him a lot, why people get along with him a lot. He's a leader of men and all that, honest and all that. He did say a lot of players get babied through high school and college, and he wants to tell guys the truth and be honest with guys as well as communicating with guys. So I liked a lot of the things that he said. I thought he said a lot of good things. It was a long-winded presser. Ron's was a lot shorter than that. Eric Bieniemy's was a lot shorter than that. They were like 20-minute pressers, and his was like 57 minutes. It was a long presser. So Dan Quinn can talk a lot, so he probably will be talking a lot during the season and off season and all that stuff like that. And he might be doing some radio stints. Hopefully he doesn't do any weekly radio shows. Or hopefully he doesn't do that. I hate when coaches do that and players do that, but it is what it is on that. But like I said, I give him a 10 out of 10. It's a 10 out of 10, man. So I have nothing negative to say, but once again, it's a wait and see approach. We've seen so many pressers, so many good pressers and all that, and just I do not want to get my hopes up and get too excited about this. But I like Dan Quinn. I like the backwards hat and all that. I think he's a good guy. There's a chance here. There's an opportunity. We do have a leader of men in here. I think he's assembled a good staff. They just have to find that quarterback. They got to hit in the draft. And find the right guys for sure, 100%. So like I said, I wish EB the best. We'll see what happens with him, and hopefully he can get a job somewhere, whether it's in college or maybe with the Chiefs again. But it just didn't work out here. Just too many pass attempts for a young quarterback. Players not endorsing him and really liking him at all. Even if you are, yelling at guys and stuff like that, you got to be able to communicate with players, and he clearly was not able to do that and get the best out of guys like Jahan Dotson, Terry running cardio, 4th and 1 shotgun runs, 3rd and 1 shotgun runs, stuff like that. It's just inexcusable from an offensive coordinator. But he did do some good things with Jacoby. I did want to see him do some things. I did want to see Jacoby more. That was the only reason why, because Eric Bieniemy's offense actually looked like a good offense with Jacoby at the end of the year. It kind of looked like how it did against the Eagles and the Patriots in the Broncos second half. So those are the only things I'm going to say about EB. So, all right, you guys let me know what you guys think about the presser. Let's, we'll see what Dan Quinn does. Hell, the Commanders. Peace.